I was at
Yeah.
school today and everybody could not stop talking about it. All of their phones were pinging with the alerts. Pretty exciting.
Well, because you're of an age there that it matters to them, right?
Yeah.
So the news is that women can now serve missions when they're 18 years old.
Yes.
Is this something you predicted would happen at General Conference?
Matt, thank you for giving me the attention I rightly deserve.
As the cold winds of winter sweep in, there's nothing like the warmth of a comforting cup to help you slow down and unwind. This is the season. Let Postum be your cozy companion. Made from roasted grains, Postum is caffeine-free and rich with a smooth roasted flavor. It's the perfect drink for those quiet, chilly mornings. Whether you're curled up with a good book, sharing a laugh with loved ones, or simply watching the snow fall outside, a cup of Postum is the moment you have been waiting for.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Mormons. It is November the 21st, and Melissa just informed me there was not an episode last week, so we're covering so much stuff.
Do you
So,
love it when there's breaking news? There is breaking news. I was at
yeah,
school today and everybody could not stop talking about it. All of their phones were pinging with the alerts. Pretty exciting.
well, because you're of an age there that it matters to them, right?
Yeah.
So the news is that women can now serve missions when they're 18 years old.
Yes.
Is this something you predicted would happen at General Conference?
Matt, thank you for giving me the attention I rightly deserve. I did predict big changes to missions, and one of the things I said would happen is women serving at 18. And guess what? It didn't happen at conference, but maybe it's because, I don't know, the prophets needed time to pray about it and see if my idea was correct. But
Yeah.
then, because I suggested the idea, it happened?
I think, like, if you just kind of look at the timeline of events, right? It's like
Sure.
President Oaks at General Conference, he's president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, not yet the
True.
first presidency organized. So they're like, we got to organize the first presidency. And then they're like, well, we need to call a new member of the Quorum of the 12. So they work on that. And then they say, well, now we need to run a new presiding bishopric. So we work on that. And then
So
they're
you're
like,
saying priorities.
now let's get back to those predictions Melissa made at This Week in Mormons and
That's
pray
right.
about some of those. And they're like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I can't
Because,
wait to see what else happens because of
I-
this.
yeah, I think there's a number of them. I think that President Oaks is probably a loyal listener.
Absolutely.
And he says, these are great predictions, things we should ponder and consider. I would have thought if 1 hour church was going to happen, Melissa, it would have happened before the
It's on
missionary
the list
age
of
thing.
priorities. They're going to get to it. No, I don't think it has to happen before the missionary age. I do think it's worth saying that in the announcement, they reminded everybody that priesthood responsibility is for young men to serve a mission, and for young women or women, I guess, it is optional opportunity. And also, just because you can serve when you turn 18 doesn't mean that you have to serve when you turn 18. You can still serve at whatever time you and the Lord feel is best for you. But oh man, I had so many high school seniors today just buzzing with excitement. Like, this means I can put in my papers at the same times as the boys would. So, like right now, for a lot of them, can put in their papers to serve as soon as they graduate. A
Yeah.
couple of them said things like, this changes my plans. Like, I've been planning specifically, a year of college and then wait and go when I turn 19. So it does change some things for some people, but yeah, you can still serve whenever it makes sense for you. It's exciting
We're going to see a dip in enrollment at BYU Idaho for at least a year, right?
because the sisters will go right away, you think?
I think so. But do you know
But
what? I honestly think that there are a lot of young men and young women that shouldn't be trying to serve missions at 18. Like in
yeah,
my
I
ward, right?
agree.
There's a young man in my ward right now. He was maybe 19 or 20. Like that seems like so old now, but so weird, right? But he was like 19 or 20 when he went, and he was way better prepared to be a missionary once he chose to go. And he's just loving it. He's like on fire right now. And
Yeah.
I think we have too many people that if they don't go at 18, they feel like I'm not going to go at all. And that's not
Or
the
they
right
just
way.
feel pressure like you have to go when you turn 18. You totally don't. What
Yeah.
about the fact that it's effective immediately? So that means that some sisters who were maybe going to enroll in college even starting in January could put in their mission papers and start serving right now. Like, that could change enrollment at colleges as well, don't you think?
Yeah, my son has some friends from high school that they were planning on serving a mission when they were old enough, and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to put in my papers in 2 months or whatever." But they really would love to be out there now. And he told
Right.
me that they texted him today and they're like, "I feel like this was just for me so that I could get out now and I don't have to wait."
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great news. I'm really glad to see that happen. Yeah, if anybody would like any of my other suggestions or predictions, it turns out that I have a lot of opinions. And
Lots of
so,
them. Lots
yeah,
of suggestions.
great ideas. Yeah.
President Oaks, keep listening. You don't have to take all of her suggestions. And
No,
I
it's
I
just suggestions.
and mine are legit predictions and that you can't even change, President Oaks. Like
Because
the
they're
second
predicted.
coming is coming when it's coming, and you can't make it happen just because I predicted it would be that way.
Correct. Correct, Maddie. Okay. All right. Hey, we're going to do Twim takes today.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I've got. There's a couple of articles that listeners you can click on in the show notes. But basically, overall, what we've been learning from research is that religious devotion, so when they say devotion, they're talking about people who pray every day, go to church every week, read the scriptures regularly. Those
And
are kind of their metrics.
say religion is very important in their lives.
Oh, you're right. Yes. So the number of people for whom, the number of Latter-day Saints for whom those things are true is declining. Fewer Latter-day Saints are devoted Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
There's a few other articles that mention stuff like that we can talk about in this discussion. But what I wanted to talk about is why do you think that is? Particularly, devotion is going down among young people. So the 18 to 30 demographic particularly describe themselves as less devoted. So why do you think they say religion is less important? They don't attend church as often versus, 20 years ago, those same answers. What do you think?
Well, I know that in the article, he sort of says it's particularly among 18 to 30-year-olds. But if you look at his data, this guy's name is Alex Bass. He's got this
Yeah.
thing called Mormon Metrics. If you look at his data, it's all the way up to 45-year-olds. And it's also on the decline.
Who it's
all
declining for?
The way,
Uh-huh.
and it's also on the decline all the way up to 55-year-olds. And the only group where it's not declining is 66 and over.
Interesting.
And that group, I think it was like 44% were devout anyways. So,
Interesting. Well, and
I don't
also
think
I
that
think
there's
it's worth saying it's not just among LDS people. I
That's
think
right.
in general, among all religions, it's declining. But I am interested in the fact that it's declining among Latter-day Saints because as we talk about, young people being able to serve missions earlier and that you don't have to go at a certain age, I think a lot of parents want to get their kids out on missions ASAP because of this very thing. They go away to college and live on their own for a while. And does that make them less likely to remain devoted or at least practicing devotion?
So, I think we've talked about this a number of times on the podcast. But what I would say is it's not just religion, it's all institutions. People in America are doing everything differently than we did 20 years ago. So,
Okay.
people are less likely to identify with a political party. They're less likely to go to political party meetings. They're less likely to get involved in like institutional organized things. And
Are they less
religion is
connected to their families?
no, because you can see there's no formal they are less likely to have dinner as families,
Okay.
right? So it's like all of these formal things. Like I think our generation when we were growing up, our parents were told if you raise up your children in the right way, then when they're old, they won't depart from it. And so
Right.
I think that previous generations had this strong belief that if you do certain things, it's going to lead to certain outcomes. I think our generation as parents didn't believe that anymore. And I think that the generation younger than us that's now having kids, that they're saying there's just a lot of hypocrisy in religion. And so there's a lot of people that are saying, why do I need to go to mass? Why do I need to go to church? Why do I need to read scriptures? I can be religious in my own way. And so religion is just changing in the United States. So there's a
Well,
link
I don't
to.
know, Matt.
Yeah,
Hold
go
on
ahead.
just a minute. So you said that people in our generation didn't necessarily believe that if you raise your children the right way, that you'll get certain outcomes.
Right.
But I still think they tried to raise their children in that way. And it's not that they didn't believe they would get the outcomes, but that they didn't see those same outcomes. Like
Okay,
the
but
world was already changing, right?
how many people in our generation do you think said we're going to have family prayer and family scriptures and family home evening like religiously all the time.
I think most of them, I think the vast majority of them. We're in our early 50s, late 40s.
Yeah, I'm almost 50.
Almost everyone I know did that
No
as they were
way.
raising their kids. Absolutely. Absolutely. But they didn't get the same outcomes. And I think it's because as parents, parenting style, we were less controlling than our parents, right? Like we did the same behaviors, but we didn't try and control for the outcomes. We didn't say like, and if you don't, then you're grounded or something like that. We still did the practices. We just didn't enforce obedience.
We didn't force them to do it. Well, if you're not forcing them to do it, you're also not having them do it. Like,
Okay,
you know what I'm
but like
saying?
you can force your kids to go to seminary, but you can't force them to have a testimony because they did,
No,
right?
that's right.
And
But
yeah,
I'm saying our generation was less likely to force kids to go to seminary. They
no,
were
I don't
less
think
likely.
so.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
well,
I don't think so. I think we did see different outcomes, and I think we weren't as affected by those outcomes, right? Like our parents were really like, oh no, I was a bad parent if my kid didn't end up sealed in the temple. Our
hmm
generation were like, we weren't a bad parent. We did all of the right things. And we do have a promised outcome, and that might come now and it might come later. But we're okay with our kids exploring and living life and learning lessons the way they need to learn them, as opposed to it being forced upon them.
Well, so what I would say, just maybe setting aside the parenting thing, is I would say over the
Yeah.
last 40 years in the United States, religion, institutionalized formal religion, has been seen as a bit of a hypocrisy. You have
Okay.
televangelists saying one thing, doing another. You have priests saying one thing, doing another. You
Okay.
have religious people saying one thing, doing another. And I think that Americans are looking at that saying, do I really need to pay tithing? Do I really need to go to a church? Do I really need to read the Bible? Do I have to do those things to be a religious person? And I think that more and more people are saying, no, I don't have to do those things. And so if you say, how important is religion in your life? They might say, not very important because they don't go to church. But what I would
Hmm.
argue is that Americans, if you think of like, but they're still just as religious, like in terms of the goodness and the virtues and the things you develop, they're every bit as much that way as they
So
were in the
are
past.
they replacing religion with something else that builds virtue?
That's so for some people, yeah, there's atheists and agnostics or people that were raised like I did some interviews with people a while back. There was this woman, she was Lutheran. She was raised Lutheran. She was a minister in the Lutheran church and she left it over hypocrisy. And then she discovered this thing she called Reiki and she left Christianity and started practicing Reiki. I don't even know the details of that, but she still is as religious as she was when she was a Lutheran. She just uses Reiki as her approach.
Okay, but these are people who still call themselves LDS. They still say, yes, I'm an LDS person.
Yeah.
I just don't go to church every single week. I'm still
Or
an
or
LDS
at all, by the
person.
way. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
but just religion isn't that important.
it's not yeah, it's a little bit less this is like, look at the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, look
Okay.
at there are so many people in our church who think of themselves as members of our church, but don't do any of the things that we would say, "Oh, you have to do that to be a good member of our church." The people
Okay.
don't define their membership in a church with whether or not they have a temple recommend or whether or not they're the most pious, and especially in our
Mhm.
church. And younger people are even more that way. But I learned this when I was living in Kansas. Like we would have people as a ward council, they'd be like, we're really concerned about so and so family because they're never at church and la 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 la. And I was like, go visit them. If you sit down and talk to them and say, we're concerned about your spiritual growth, they'd be like, why would you be concerned about us? We're very spiritual, we're very religious. We
Mhm.
do missionary work. We bring people to the church we're doing better
Right.
missionary work than the people in the ward council. So it's just people practice their religion in a way that works for them and it doesn't necessarily fit into these really easily identifiable things of like do this and this and this, but they do it in a different way.
Yeah, I would agree. I have one more question. Do you think this I feel like when we talk about people who are converts to the church, we usually think that they are like super devoted. Do you think that is still true about converts to the church, or do you think
No,
also converts are less devoted?
I think converts are as devoted as they ever were. Like
Okay.
being a member of the church is something you grow into. So I had
That's
a
true.
friend. I had a friend that joined the church. He had long hair. He had tattoos. He had an earring. He had season tickets to the Chiefs. And like gradually over time, sort of that stuff kind of fell away as he became more involved in the like. This is how the Holy Ghost works with everybody. You're like, I should get baptized. But what that means and how that all fits together, people have to figure that out for themselves as they grow in their relationship with God.
Yeah, I
So
think so too. I know you've been doing some research lately on, like, it's related to this. It's more like religious behaviors or practices
religious becoming. You know what made me really
becoming.
happy? I was reading Elder Suarez's talk in the last general conference, and he talked about the virtue of temperance, how important it is to develop that virtue. And I was like, hey, that's one of the virtues in my book. But yeah, I say we should measure religion not by what a person does, but by what a person becomes. And if you
Yeah.
look in the show notes, you can see a little thing I wrote up in the Deseret News about it. But you can also,
Oh, yeah. Listen, my daughter read that article in the Deseret News.
does she
And
like it?
she liked it a lot. But she said, yeah, like, I don't know. You should explain the article really quickly, Maddie.
Yeah, so and you can actually there's a link also you can go to my website and take the little test for yourself and see how you score on these virtues. But
Okay.
I show that people who develop these four virtues, transcendence, temperance, justice, and humanity, people who have those virtues, I think we should consider those people religious people regardless of their particular religious affiliation. And I show that there's agnostics and atheists and Jewish people and Hindus and Buddhists and members of our church all score high on these. And that people who score high on those measures of religion are the kinds of citizens you would hope to have in a good democratic society. So I argue that religion is good for society because it helps people become the kinds of people that make democracy work.
And you also argue, which was the point that my daughter found interesting, that this is really how we're going to overcome the political divides that are happening among all of us right now is religion.
Yeah, yeah, I do argue that. And if you measure religion by this devotion metric, religion is actually a negative force in society. So if you measure religion by how fervently do you believe in God, how often do you go to church, how important is religion to you, those things actually predict bad things in American society. People who do those things are more likely to support political violence. They're more likely to support when elected officials do things that like erode the constitution and erode the rule of law in society. So
Hmm.
so that's another reason why I think some good people are not measuring as devoted, because sometimes you go to church and it feels like a place full of angry people who are mad about things and are supporting kinds of bad things, and you say, why would I want to be a
Hmm.
part of that? And so they find another path. That's
Okay.
that's what Ryan Burge's the link that you had to that's what Ryan Burge argues is happening in Christianity, especially like
Hmm.
he says like among evangelicals specifically, there are no more moderate evangelicals. That it's all being hollowed out to if you're either like on one extreme or the other extreme, and the people kind of in the middle have left evangelical Christianity.
Okay. Now, Matt, I took your little tools test.
Oh,
Okay.
how'd you do?
Where do you think I rated the highest and the lowest in
Okay, so
these metrics?
first of all, I'm going to say the mean score is about 0.54. So if you did
Okay.
better than 0.54 overall, then you're better than the mean.
Okay.
Um,
I don't
the-
have my exact numbers pulled up. I just remember where I was high and low.
oh, okay, okay, all right.
Okay.
I'm going to say you are very high in humanity.
That was my highest.
Yeah, and I'm going to
Correct.
say you're also very high in justice.
That's my lowest. Justice.
But temperance probably pretty high, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I would say you're probably high in transcendence because you're a member of our church and like God's super important.
Yes, for sure, and because I'm very close to transcending whatever that means.
Transcendence is like your relationship with God or your appreciation for a higher
Yeah.
power, things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you were lowest in justice.
Yeah, I think it's because I don't care
Hmm.
if things are fair.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
know
have
if that
thought you
was
would.
measuring that,
It
but
is. It is kind of measuring that, like that people should be treated fairly, no matter what's going on.
yeah, I don't think you should be treated fairly. I don't even think that's what this life is about. It's not even supposed to be
Uh,
fair. That's what the
uh,
Savior is for in the end, to make
uh-huh.
things, not even fair, but I guess just. But yeah, I don't think life should be fair. Now, do you
Interesting.
wanna know how we do Christmas at my house?
Yeah, I do.
Now, I have all adult kids, so but, I don't care if it's fair. I don't care if they all get the same amount or even the same, like, dollar amount. You wanna know what I do? I hide
Huh.
gift cards and flat out cash, and I do a scavenger hunt, and whatever you find, you get. So if one kid ends up with 250 and gift cards and cash, and another one ends up with 20, it's still Merry Christmas for all. It was a fun game we played. That's literally what
Wow.
we do. I don't
My
care if
wife
it's fair.
my wife could never do that. Could never, ever, ever do that.
I know. That's just how I am.
I like
You're
that.
used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a bit of a capitalist, Melissa. Like, you're a bit
Oh, is that what that means? I'm a capitalist.
competition leads to the best outcomes.
And it's fun.
It's not fun. I would hate
Yes.
that so much. I hate finding things. Your husband is so good at finding things.
Oh, he's so good at hiding things. You can't believe.
Yeah, that
We still
too.
have at least 2 things hidden from last Christmas that nobody ever found,
My
including
my
us. We
most
don't know where they are.
my most hated activity of all is Easter egg hunts. I can't stand them. I'm like, I
Oh,
don't want to
man.
look for things. Like, just give it to me. Or I don't know. Yeah, so maybe your kids inherited that from your husband where they love to hide and find things, but
I don't know if they love it, but I'm just saying my motto has always been, it doesn't need to be fair. Life's not
yeah.
fair. It shouldn't be. We don't learn anything from fair.
Well, Melissa, I've known you for my entire life, and this is
Yeah.
something I didn't know about you. So
Oh,
I,
really?
I
Yeah.
feel much better because you're a bit of a libertarian, right? You're a little bit of like,
Yes.
and so then that to me suggests an element of fairness. But now I know, no, it's not about that. It's about
No.
freedom for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
speaking of things that you predicted, Melissa,
Yeah.
there's
Quick
more.
clips. Yeah.
More. Saturday evening general conference sessions are no more.
They are gone. Bye-bye. Oh man, I couldn't be more excited. This was also a brilliant idea that I had. Why are we even doing it anymore? Listen, church is 2 hours, but conference is 10. Boo. Boo.
Do you know what? I should have seen this coming because, general conference was all planned before
Mhm.
before President Nelson died, right? So President Oaks was scheduled to speak in the Saturday morning session. I'm only guessing because it ended like a half hour early, right? And then
Yeah.
he spoke, and then as the president of the Quorum of the 12, he spoke in the Sunday afternoon session. I should have known then that President Oaks was like, I am not anxious to speak. I don't have a lot of stuff to say. And the more sessions of conference we have, the more I have to like think of like what to say.
Yeah.
And the first presidency is like aging, right? So the more sessions you have, the more conducting you have to do. So,
Right. That's a good point. And also, I'm going to also predict we have more talks and they're shorter.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. But
Why?
but this is want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Well, wait, first I have to tell you this. So many of the conference talks, this last conference, were I'm going to quote something that President Nelson said in an
I
earlier
know.
talk.
I know.
Like,
I
if
know.
we spend half of our time in talks quoting other talks, we can do shorter talks.
So
That's all.
again, I don't want to that would be another conspiracy theory I have, but that
Okay.
that conspiracy theory is that President Nelson was sort of strongly encouraging, if not directly instructing people to do that. That he was
Oh.
telling them that you should echo the prophet in the things that you say. And so
Hmm.
you say way more of that with President Nelson than you do with any other president of the church.
Interesting.
People rarely quoted President Monson when he was president of the church. And by the
Mm-hmm.
end of President Nelson, it's like almost every single talk
Oh,
was
think
quoting President.
celestial. Remember, think celestial. Yeah. So was that your conspiracy theory or you have another one?
That's one of them. That one.
Uh-huh.
My other one is okay. So I'm a Kansas Jayhawk basketball fan, and
Okay.
Saturday evening general conference in April always is the Final Four, like March Madness, and so we would be sitting there in
Oh,
priesthood
college
session.
basketball?
Yeah, we would be sitting there in priesthood session, like people with like phones back in the day. It would be like radio headphones listening to the game. And then whenever the songs would start, somebody would shout out the score so that we could keep up with what was going on in the game. Well, anyhow, BYU basketball is good this year. And there's a chance that they'll be playing in the Final Four. So maybe this whole change is about people. Because I know that President Holland is a big BYU sports fan. And maybe he was
Okay.
forward thinking. He's like, I don't know if I have to go to a Saturday evening session of conference, I might have to skip it to go watch the BYU basketball game in the Final Four. Do you think maybe it was that?
Yeah, I 100% think it was that. I 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
me and my conspiracy theories.
It's great. Okay, the church, the First Presidency put out the First Presidency Christmas message. They do that every year. It's just a couple of paragraphs long, leading us into the holiday season, and that's out now. Also, the First Presidency Christmas devotional will be shown on December 7th. Now, I know the Twin Sisters talked about how it will not be a live event, and we have a little bit of access to behind the scenes about that. So it will never again be a live devotional. According to President Oaks, it's always going to be recorded. The reason why, now this is just because our mom works for the company that does the broadcasts. And so she spent a good week during October working on the First Presidency Christmas devotional recording. And she said the reason that they're doing that as a recording is because there's so much that goes on down at Temple Square during that month of December. And it's a
Yeah.
lot for the broadcast companies. So they've got, what's the thing where the people come and sing and do the music? And
There's the Lalus. Tonight. There's a concert like the Bells on Temple Square going on. They
yeah,
have concerts every night, and then there's also the Tabernacle Choir does their Christmas show that takes a
yes, that's
long
what I
time
was
to
talking
prepare
about.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. So President Oaks was like, hey, let's bust this out in October. Let's not have everybody keep coming downtown to Salt Lake to do all of these recordings and events and ticketed things. Let's bust it out and get it taken care of. So that's what he did. It seems to me
Okay.
that will be the plan going forward.
All right. Until somebody else changes it.
Yeah, sure.
The new apostle, Elder Kosei, made his first official appearance. What was it
Hey,
at?
wait, is that how you say it? Kosei?
Yeah.
I've been saying Kosei.
Um,
Kosei. I
I
can fix
mean,
it. I can
pretty sure
fix
it's
it.
Kosei.
Elder Kosei. Sorry, go on.
Gerard. I took 4 years of French.
Gerard Kosei.
Gerard
I did
Kosei.
too. Matt, I took 4 years of French too. Do you want to know what I can say in French?
Mm-hmm.
Le Petit Chaperon Rouge.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Little Red Riding Hood. That was
Ah.
the only thing I retained.
I can say
Okay.
bonjour, and I can go ha ha ha,
Good job. Good job. Okay, Elder Kosei.
and I can say fin du trottoir, fin du
Oh.
trottoir.
I don't know what that means.
The moving sidewalk is ending. If you go to an airport in Canada or France, they play that as the
gotcha.
moving sidewalk is ending.
Okay.
His first official appearance was at a stewardship symposium where they talked about protecting the Great Salt Lake, and because as presiding bishop, he was integral in making sure that the church's water rights were released in order to save the Great Salt Lake, and so there was the symposium scheduled. Anyhow, my daughter is super excited about Elder Kosei being a member of the Quorum of the 12 because he is a big advocate of environmental stewardship, and that's one of the first things he talked about.
Interesting. Okay.
And because he was the presiding bishop, we now have a new presiding bishop, Bishop Waddell, who had been in the bishopric for a long time. And they moved a counselor from one of the area presidencies into the presiding bishopric. And so there's a whole bunch of leadership changes. If you're interested in like collecting the baseball cards of church leaders and their previous positions, it's time for you to get a new set of baseball cards so you can update your stack.
Sounds good.
I have the Bishop Waddell second counselor in the bishopric.
Second counselor. Okay. The church they're continuing to release new hymns slowly,
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for whoever's in charge in our building of updating the little folder we have of photocopied songs, because that's a constant job.
Pretty sure that's why they put them on an app. Pretty sure
Yeah, I cannot sing from the app. It is not.
Okay. I just don't sing.
Just like scrolling and trying to keep the music notes and the words in the same place. It's too much for me. I like the printed version. Now,
did you know I have a personal boycott? I'm not singing any of the new hymns until they release a hymn book with all the new hymns. So whenever it's a new hymn on the app.
The song of the righteous is a prayer unto the Lord. You must do your singing. You must contribute.
I think he likes to hear my boycott. He's like,
no,
good job, Matt. You show them. You show us.
I think of all of the ways you could rebel, this is the dumbest. So ineffective.
That's not fair.
Listen, y'all can drink your coffee, but I'm not going to sing the hymns. Okay?
I will sit stoically and stare at the chorister while she looks at me like, why won't you sing? I'm smiling. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me sing.
Okay. Whew, well, there were a couple of Christmas hymns released. Hopefully, we will be singing those in the coming month. Now, did you hear that the Sacred Music app is going away?
Yeah, they keep
They're
telling me
going to
this.
just transition it over into the gospel library, like into the LDS tools. So it's just going to be in the same place as everything else, which is a
No,
good
there's
idea.
there's different ones. There's tools and then there's the library app. There's two different ones. And it's going
Oh, it's
into
the library app.
yeah, the
The
library
tools
app.
is where you see people's records. The library app is where you get your scriptures,
Did
and that's where the songs are going.
you know you can pay tithing on tools now?
I didn't.
Yeah, there's all kinds of new stuff on tools. Check it out, Melissa.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
I probably won't check it out. Well, you know what? That's
It's
probably
so
what I'll
much
do during
easier.
sacrament meeting this week
Yeah.
when everybody on the rows in front of me is getting bored of the speakers and they pull out their wordles, I will pull out my tools and see what's new.
When everyone else is singing the sacrament hymn from the new hymnal, then
Right,
as a
and you're
boycott,
boycotting.
that's right. That's when you can
Perfect.
check out the new tools app.
Yeah, I can't remember the point I was getting to. Oh, there's new playlists. As part of the
Yeah.
transition, we've got a playlist for children's music and a playlist for Christmas music, and also you can start to make your own playlists. What a futuristic world we are living in.
No, like my son who's on a mission is super excited and happy because he can only listen to music in the Gospel Library app.
Mhm.
And they get tired of the songs playing in the same loop in the same order over and over and over.
Mhm.
So that creating a playlist allows them to skip through stuff easier.
I see.
Missionaries are very excited about this.
Okay, well, that's good. I think if I was a missionary and I could only listen to those songs, I'd spend a lot of my time at, I don't know, like Walmart walking around and listening to other music just to get a little break.
When my daughter was on a mission, I was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" She's like, "Okay, I can listen to Christmas music. It's approved." So she's like, "I would like some heavy metal Christmas music." And I was like, "That's kind of a tall order." Like there's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but I went on Spotify and there's like death metal hymns. I was like,
Ooh.
I don't think I can get the death metal hymns, but I found that Twisted Sister did a Christmas album and they have a version of "Oh Come All Ye Faithful" that sounds a whole lot like "We're Not Gonna Take It." And
Okay.
yeah, so that was her
I'll be
Christmas
looking for
present.
that, but not in the Gospel Library app.
Yeah, it's not there.
Okay.
My quick clip is that there's a lawsuit over a trip where a Riverton boy had his foot severed. So they went to Wyoming and they were boating and there was an accident and this young boy lost his foot.
Okay, Matt,
And
I know this story. I hate this story because okay, he lost
tell me,
his foot. His brother had to watch and help him, I don't know, get to safety. And now the parents are suing in behalf of both boys. They're suing the church, not the church leader. They're suing the church and saying, like, the church didn't provide adequate training for the leaders or something like that. Listen, I know recovering from these sorts of things is expensive, but we're the church leaders who own a boat and take youth and young people out constantly.
oh yeah.
And I don't like, here's the thing, accidents are going to happen. Like, that's just no matter where you go, what you do, accidents are going to happen. And I think one of the most valuable things my husband does is teach people who've never had the opportunity to go boating how to do things like throw a rope or get up on a ski or, you know, all kinds of things. I think those are fun and valuable life lessons, and even teaching you how to do things like maintain a boat and clean it up afterwards. Like, those are all part of the experience. And I don't like the idea of a fact that a suit like this is going to make it so that perhaps we're not able to function in this way as, you know, people in the community, in the church in the future. I don't like it.
Okay, I agree with you.
Okay, great. Next quick clip. We're going kind of slow through the quick clips, but I'll be fast on this. There's some church buildings that are opening. Manila, Philippines Temple Open House. It's
Nice.
not Manila. It's the second one in the Manila area, the fourth temple in the Philippines. It's actually called the Alabang, maybe?
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Alabang Philippines Temple.
For a
So
minute, I
that's
thought you were
going
from the Philippines with the way you said that. I was
I
like,
know, thanks. Let's see. Azerbaijan. You say that.
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan is opening their first meeting house.
Mhm.
Elder Bednar was there to cut the ribbon. It's a good looking building. I'm happy for Azerbaijan. They have only one branch there, but they've got a new meeting house. Pretty cool.
Azerbaijan is a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
And like it's like a hidden gem of a country. And It's totally a place where one could retire and be so happy.
Hmm.
So probably members of
Spoken
our
like
church
a
are like,
travel agent.
now that there's a church meeting house there, you could
Uh-huh.
retire there and feel so comfortable that you could live close to a church building and have just on a beautiful, beautiful like surroundings.
Okay.
I love
Okay,
Azerbaijan.
I'll consider it when I'm considering. Maybe I'll do one of those church service missions out there towards
They don't speak much
retirement age.
English there. So that could
Hey,
be a
Matt, I don't
downside.
speak much English either, if we're being honest.
You could just like keep your Siri, right, your phone nearby all the time and just have it translate everything you
Yeah,
say.
we're not going to need to worry about that with the way AI is going in the future. It's really not going to matter what language you speak.
Yeah.
Finally, in Cache Valley, where I live, at the Utah State University, a new LDS Institute of Religion is opening its doors. Actually, right after we record, I'm heading out there to the open house because that is where we're going to go to church now, is at the new
Wow.
institute building.
It's
So,
so big, Melissa.
yeah, it's going to
And it's
serve over 10,000 students, and
wow.
I'm excited to go report on it, tell you what it's like. But yeah, it'll be exciting.
Yeah, you should take like a video camera with you.
I
You
think
should
they're
get
going
a
to have some video recordings already going on.
the
They're doing
church
some
might
fun
send some
things.
people
They're
out.
doing like a dance as part of the open house, a dance just for young adults, and then they're doing a by invitation only dedication, so you
Mm.
have to get tickets to it. Anyways,
Hmm. Are they going to play
it's a big
kissing
deal.
rugby? Do you think they'll play kissing rugby?
Always, I think every Friday night is kissing rugby.
Do
Yeah,
you
that's what
remember
I read.
kissing rugby, Melissa?
No, I've never heard of it. Have I?
Kissing rugby, we played at youth conferences, like in the stake. And
Uh huh.
so all the girls in the room would get a letter, and all the guys in the room would get a number, and there'd be somebody
Stop.
sitting in the floor, and they would shout out 25Z. And so then if it was a girl that said 25Z, then the girl whose letter is Z runs out. No, the girl whose letter is Z runs out there and tries to, let me think. So there's a guy tries to kiss the girl that's sitting down. The girl tries to kiss the guy who's running to kiss that girl before he can get to her. And so then whoever is last ends up sitting in the middle in kissing rugby.
Stop.
And
I do
I
not
have
remember ever playing this. Is this the only way you got kissed as a teenager?
no one ever called my number. I would sit on the front row saying, "Shout out 15, shout out 3." And they're like, nobody say 3. No, what I remember was, I don't know if it was you or your friend Angie, but somebody took her and like body slammed her on the ground and started kissing her, right? Because she was wiggly or wily or something like that. And then it was
Okay.
like 30 minutes after that, the stake leaders were like, we're not sure that this activity promotes the kinds of values that we think that we want to promote at this stake youth activity. So they stopped the game. I never got
Okay.
kissed. Just sat
I'm
around waiting.
sorry.
I know, it was rough.
Okay. Well, great. That wraps up quick clips. Thanks, Maddie.
Let's do big deal, little deal, no deal.
I think you mean no deal.
No deal. Hey, you took away the one I was super excited to hear about. Okay, we're
Do
gonna
you want
go.
me to untake it away?
Yeah, do it, Melissa. I'm so excited about that one. I didn't even read the story, but I read the headline. I was like, I've got to hear about this.
All right, here you go. Mormon millionairess sues polygamist husband after he neglected her in favor of his other 4 wives.
This is so awesome.
Big deal, little deal, no deal. 3, 2, 1.
Big deal.
Little
No.
deal. I would say no deal, except I have to call out MSN, the author of this story, for saying that this is Mormons, because they are in no means, by any stretch of the imagination, Mormons, yet their headline is Mormon millionairess, polygamist husband.
Ah,
In fact, her husband is a prophet of a completely different church, which is the Apostolic United Brethren.
that's the
He's
Mennonites.
the prophet in Manti, Utah, but they still call them Mormons. So MSN, boo to you. You did inappropriate reporting, which made Matt very excited about this story,
So
which is
excited.
basically we made a lot of money in Manti, Utah with our natural food store. But now we're old, like in our 70s, and you got all these other wives, and you haven't been paying enough attention to me, and I want your money. And I still love you, and I'm sorry we have to divorce, but I do need your money. Thank you. That's the whole story. I don't think I left anything out.
That headline was awesome.
Okay, you're
But yeah,
welcome.
you're right. That's a very little deal.
Okay, thank you.
It's not. You should have deleted that.
I did delete that, but here
Oh
you go.
man, I love that headline. Okay, here's mine.
Okay. Okay.
Young Mormons build an app to help men quit porn. Is that
Oh,
a big deal? Little deal? No deal? 3, 2, 1. No deal.
little deal. Here, I
Yeah.
love anytime young Mormons are entrepreneurs and building
Oh,
apps.
I'm
That's
telling
so
you.
fun for you. I feel like this has been tried before, but I don't know. I didn't read the story. Tell me more.
You know how there's like what is the language learning app that'll like let you know your streaks, how many days in a row you've been
Oh,
studying the
okay.
language,
Yeah.
right? It
Uh-huh.
it does the same kind of thing. Like you've gone 3 days without looking at porn. Congrats for you. Don't ruin your
Oh,
streak
okay.
now. That kind of
I
stuff.
see. So the psychology behind it is deep. Okay.
What I'm learning, Melissa, is that there is no shortage of young Mormon men willing to develop an app of basically anything because I hear
Okay.
pitches from them all the time about, and how could I make this app that we've developed super big so that I can become a billionaire? And I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
hardly think the app's a decent idea, but whatever. Go pitch your app.
Okay. Well, okay. So here's the thing. I do think that there is a need for something for youth who have a pornography problem because of this reason. And I'm not 100% up to date on this, but my understanding is that you can't start the church's addiction recovery program if you are still a teenager. You have to
No, you
be.
can.
No, they don't have any support groups for anybody under age 18.
Your parent just has to go with you.
Okay, well, I do you know any 16-year-olds or who are gonna go to a porn support group with their dad and mom? Like,
If you
that's
if you make them, then they'll go. Then they
yeah,
sit
no,
there with their
I just don't think there's a great path to actual addiction recovery for younger people, and if we were able to come up with a way to do that, I think that would be great. So I think I'm not saying this is the answer, I'm just saying that there is a problem that could be solved. Um,
I'll
I
tell
don't
you the
know.
answer. It's a super easy answer. Like the
Yeah,
psychology of this is so easy.
yeah.
When you go to the porn website, there is a very long, boring ad that's like informational about how bad pornography is for you that
You
you
have to
have to
watch it before
watch. That's right. That will get people all out of the mood for pornography. If they can never access it without watching an instructional,
It's true.
informational put out by the government.
Our attention is not that. Yeah, we can't stand that.
Even better, have RFK Jr. be the one telling you why porn is bad. Because the way that he talks is like it's hard to understand what he's saying. It's hard to pay a lot of attention to him. You're
Do you
like,
have an RFK Jr.? I mean, can you do an impression of him?
I can't. But I bet we
It's
could.
really raspy. I know that.
Yeah, it's like this pornography. Well, right. I tell you right now, that app would be a winner. And make it so you
Mhm.
can't get around it. There's no way to buy whatever subscription to get past it. Like it's public service announcement required by the government. You have to watch this before every porn video. And then if the porn video is longer than every 30 seconds it shows up in the middle of the porn video. Like I don't need
Yeah, okay, that would
that'll
solve
stop
the
it.
problem. You are a thinker, Matt. You're a thinker.
Thank you.
We went a few weeks ago, you and I went to an AI and religion conference.
Yeah.
This was the one where Elder Gong was the keynote speaker, and you were also a keynote speaker. Not keynote, I
A
guess. You weren't as
presenter.
notable as Elder Gong. But that was one of the concerns at the conference was like, is AI really going to take porn to another level that is just horrific, I guess. Not that
Yeah.
it's not already, but that was a big concern they talked about in the conference as far as like trafficking and all that kind of stuff being
All
helped
I'm
along by
super excited.
AI.
I'm just super excited that when the Deseret News wrote a story about Elder Gong's speech, they talked about me and they talked about the other guy, and that was it. We were the only ones that got mentioned in the Elder Gong story.
Yeah, you did a great job. I thought overall the conference was interesting. There was a lot of things I disagreed with, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's my nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else of note about that? It was just specifically not about the LDS church, but it was LDS focused. I mean, most of the speakers were LDS and about, yeah, AI and religion. And do we need to, what do we need to look at as laws and policies are being implemented around this kind of stuff? And
The
Stuff like
Deseret
that.
News asked us to write a little article about it summarizing what we said at that conference. So it's going to come out in the Deseret News within a week. It'll be in the Deseret News. We
Okay.
did a survey of members of the church's attitudes about artificial intelligence. And
Yeah.
I created 3 categories: the Silicon Saints, the compartmentalizers, and the spiritual skeptics.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can read about it when it comes out in the Deseret News, or maybe we'll talk about it, or someone else will talk about it.
Okay.
I
Something I got from that conference, I downloaded the LDS chatbot.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, another
Okay.
presenter. And I think we're going to try and interview him soon, right?
Yeah, Josh. He's we'll see. I think he'll join us. This is the thing though. It's not updated. Ask LDS chatbot about who set Elder Kosei apart as a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and it'll say he's the presiding bishop.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do it right now. So, listeners, if you're interested, it's just LDS Bot, and it's just a little chat bot that you can ask questions about the church about. And the presenting of this was actually quite interesting. It wasn't exactly what you'd think, but hold on.
So what he uploaded
Who's
into LDS Bot was he put all of the manuals from the church, all the general conference talks from the church, all of the scriptures are there. And it's designed to be faith affirming. So people who have questions about the church and they want to get official sources of things about the church in a faith affirming way, you can go to this LDS Bot tool and ask it questions. But Melissa's going to show you it's wrong.
Okay, well, I couldn't spell Elder Kosei's name, so I just said who is the new presiding bishop. Okay, and it says as of now, the presiding bishop is Bishop Gerald Kosei.
Yeah.
Dang, you're right.
Because Mom and I were having an argument about who sets apart the president of the church. And so she's like, who set apart President Oaks? And it was like, President Oaks is in the first presidency, but he's not the president of the church. So it's
Okay.
it's a little
I've
dated.
had fun with it saying, is my Perk energy drink the same as coffee?
And what did you find
It's not.
out? Oh,
It said, no, there's no coffee in your Perk energy drink. However, there's much more caffeine than there is in coffee. And I was like, well, yeah,
Hey.
that's why I drink it.
there you go. That's helpful.
Okay. Side
Okay.
note. Okay. All right. Here's my story. Which religious groups are most and least likely to get tattoos? Big deal, little deal, or no deal? 3, 2, 1.
No deal.
Little deal.
No deal. I can tell
Matt?
you right now. Aren't there religions
Okay.
that it's part of their religion to get a tattoo?
Sure.
So they're going to be the most likely.
Okay. Well, that's not actually my point. My point is that 85% of Latter-day Saints think it's completely acceptable to get a tattoo today.
Heathens.
85%.
Heathens. President Hinckley he's so sad right now. I can feel President Hinckley's sadness in my soul.
I can't. Well, so 85% versus the national average in America, which is 93%. So we're still less likely to think it's perfectly fine, but that's a lot of people that think it's perfectly fine in our church.
Oh, like perfectly fine for a person to get a tattoo generally.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. 85%. Yeah.
Okay.
Matt, my kids all got tattoos.
I know.
As soon as the youngest turned 18, they got matching tattoos to show their love and devotion and sibling kinship with each other. It was kind of cute.
I still judge them. They should have
I
just
know,
gotten
yeah.
rings to put on their finger.
You know what would be better? A ring tattoo, because then you would never lose it. I haven't worn a ring forever, and I'm still faithfully married, but nobody knows because I don't have a tattoo about it.
My son wants to do that because he's a mechanic, and he always has to take his ring off. What they should have done is
I've long been in favor, Matt. You know, I've advocated for this before, even though my husband doesn't like it when I say this. The temple garment markings, they should just be tattoos. Then we don't have to worry about the underwear nature of garments. We can just tattoo our symbols on, and then they will always be with us. I think that's a great
I have
idea.
heard you say this before. I know. I'm with your husband on that one.
I know.
And your children should have just gotten matching T-shirts that are like, siblings.
You can't wear that every day. Yeah.
You can too. Believe me, Melissa. You can wear a T-shirt.
Okay, other information. Okay.
In the 5th grade.
Okay, Matt, you did wear the same thing every day for many, many weeks, months.
In fairness, I had multiple outfits that looked the same. And so it looked like I was wearing the same thing, but I was changing clothes here and there.
Yeah. Can we explain to the listeners what this outfit was? It was parachute pants with a zip-up jacket that was also of the parachute material. You wore it every day.
It said Corvette on the sleeve.
You were so
I love
Yeah.
it. And
Matt.
then the teachers were like to our mom, "We're concerned that Matt maybe doesn't have more clothes. We've done a fundraiser to see if we could get
That's
him some
right. They did a
clothing."
fundraiser to get you new clothing. That's right. Okay.
All right.
Matt, back to tattoos. Okay.
Mhm.
The percentage of LDS people who have 2 or more tattoos, what do you think that is of LDS people?
Less than 10%.
No, 17% of LDS people
Ah,
have 2 or more tattoos.
I was I was sort of
I changed
close.
my mind. It's a big, big deal.
Okay. Yeah, now it's a
Okay.
big deal. Now that
Okay, great.
now that I know that 17% have more than 2. That's
Yeah,
huge.
it's a huge deal.
Okay, here's mine. Americans aren't getting married anymore. How does this fit in with what seems to be President Oaks's priority as church president? Big deal, little deal, no deal. 3, 2, 1.
Big
No deal. Oh,
deal.
really? You
Are
think
you
it's a big
serious,
deal?
Matt? I think it's a huge deal.
I
I
think
can't tell
President
you the number of young adults who are, what's the right word? Irked,
No.
annoyed, put off by President Oak's most recent conference talk as president of the.
That's how you know he's doing a good job, right?
Sure.
He's saying the things they don't want to hear. But it's a
But the
good
way that he's
message.
saying it seems tone deaf, I guess,
But he's
to
right. His
them.
message is right. Yeah, yeah, maybe there's a better way to present that message. I
Yeah.
imagine he'll get better at his This is what I've decided about President Oaks.
Uh-huh.
You know how President Monson was not a speaker, he was more of a doer, like show by
Mm.
example.
Mhm. Yeah.
And President Nelson was definitely into branding and that sort of thing. President Oaks is not a speaker. He's not a tell people kind of thing. That's not how he leads, but he is an amazing leader. And going back to the
Yeah.
new temple in the Philippines, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where he was in the Quorum of the 12 and they had him be the area president in Philippines. And you see how
Mhm.
the church has just turned around in the Philippines from the
Mhm.
time he was there until now. Same thing with BYU. BYU, especially BYU Law, like he was president of BYU when the law school opened, and BYU as an institution is much more well regarded today than it was before he got there. And BYU Law School much better regarded than it was when he first. So I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
President Oaks has some strengths and some things that he does that are amazing, and I just
Yeah.
don't think he's a tell people what to do kind of guy.
Yeah, this is a great perspective. I really like that framing. Okay, so according to this article, the number of Americans who have never been married currently is 31% of American adults have never been married.
Yeah,
So a
that
third
yeah
as compared to under 15%, when we were young. So
yeah
it's doubled. I guess my concern is that, serving in a YSA ward, this is the marching orders from the prophet. And we are going to hear so many talks about how important it is for you to get married. And to me, it's like, okay, these, guess what? They want to be married. It's not
yes
like they're not striving and trying.
yes.
And they want to have families. This is not something that they don't want, but the practicalities of it are extremely different than they used to be. And I think to have constantly now taught to you, and in my ward, it's taught to you by other young single adults, people who are also similarly unmarried. Like, here's what we got to do. We had a talk last Sunday, and it was like, you should practice relationships. You should practice that with your roommates. And I was just like, you are giving advice from someone who's never been married. Or like, it's so obvious. And I know you're just trying to do what the prophet says, but yeah, I think it can be difficult when this is what you want more than anything. And it is just a completely different world than the world where the prophet, his experiences are coming from. I think it's hard.
Maybe we should suggest that they have their daughter double date with them.
Yes, you're right. That worked for
Wait.
President Oaks.
um, I honestly, Melissa, I don't think this is going to be President Oaks's priority. I don't think this is
You
something.
don't?
No, I think that that topic was assigned to him prior to General
Mm.
Conference,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I think that many of his talks on the Proclamation to the World on the Family were assigned to him to
Yeah,
give
okay.
talks on those topics. I don't think that that's what
Okay.
he will choose as president.
Yeah, in fact, maybe he is gonna focus more on missionaries since that's kind of what's happening. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's my take.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your take. Okay, good job. This next one's gonna be really quick. Belief in the afterlife. Matt, do you believe in the afterlife?
Yes, of course.
Belief in the afterlife is increasing among adults. Big deal, little deal, or no deal? 3, 2, 1.
Big
Big
deal. That's the
deal.
only thing that makes people do good things. If they're afraid of being punished in hell forever, otherwise they
Oh.
don't do. I'm just kidding.
I just thought it more showed like the world is a little bit in turmoil, but this world is not the end. And so
Oh,
therefore, I have a purpose in moving forward. Although, according to this article, which is linked in the show notes, belief in the afterlife hasn't really gone up that much. They say, like, oh, there's a big increase. It's gone up from like 76% to 83%. So it's not really that big. But I do
yeah.
think it's interesting to think about that over 80% of people believe in an afterlife. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think most people do believe in that.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's my whole story.
Okay, now my next segment is it's all this Mormon wives stuff. And so
Have you been keeping up with the Mormon wives?
I watched a little bit of the first season and I was like, I'm not the demographic that this show
Uh-huh.
is intended to appeal to.
Okay.
But I'm going to do like this really quick hit of these headlines and you're going to have to tell me, should we care or not?
Okay.
Because you kind of know this a little bit more than I do, and it's all over the news. Okay.
Okay.
So Mormon wives Jessie Nagatakora tears up over criticism about her marriage struggles.
Okay.
Whitney Levitt shared an emotional video after being eliminated from Dancing with the Stars.
Poor Whitney. Uh-huh.
You were kind of watching that a little bit, right? Like the
No,
news.
I don't really watch Dancing with the Stars, but I saw some clips of it here and there. Yeah.
The news suggests that she was getting great scores, and there was
Yeah.
maybe some kind of an agenda that
Anti-Mormon.
There's a story about how Latter-day Saint women are dominating television. This one just real quick. Kurt and I have this texting thing back and forth. Wherever there's like anti-Mormon stuff in the news, we point it out and we're like, yeah, I saw that too. Like on the one hand, and then this is the other one. This is in the Washington Post. This person's like, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is essential viewing. Seriously, it's a perfect mirror of America's strange cultural moment. And then there's this other one. There's a reason they all look the same. It's the Utah look. So like there's this strand of things out there that's like the Mormon wives are popular because one, we can make fun of Mormons a little bit, but then two, there's this like special thing happening in the United States among a certain segment of women, and the Mormon wives just happen to represent that really well. And so women are watching it not so much to poke fun at the church, but because they relate to that and they sort of see themselves in that. Like, and some people are saying they're more popular than the Kardashians, which the new Kardashian, they would be easy to be more popular than that. But it's sort of like a similar kind of thing. So I wonder what your take is on that. Is it really about that they're Mormon wives? Is it about that they're Utah? Is it about, do you know?
Okay, well, I think there's nothing else to watch on TV. I think that's one of the things. Like there is nothing else that people are like excited about to see on TV. Severance is over. That's the last thing I heard people talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's partly that they're they are representing a lot of what's going on in the world just because they're so connected to social media. So they are popular because of their whole TikTok and their dance, and they still have all of them have really popular social media channels. So I think it's just really smart that the way that Hulu has integrated them from the social media where everybody is spending their time to TV, where people just aren't that interested in TV that much anymore, but they've made this connection. And then, they had them go on the Dancing with the Stars. Like they've done a great job promoting them. I think they're interesting people. I think they're beautiful people. And I think it is a kind of a way to gawk and point and stare at something that is really different. It's just really different.
So the Real Housewives of Salt Lake
I still think they're pretty popular.
Okay, that's still going on too?
Yes, they just came out with a new season, and my understanding is that it is the most popular franchise. So each Real Housewives is a franchise. Salt Lake is the most popular franchise that they've had by a long shot.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay, then there's these other kinds of stories. This one says it makes me uncomfortable what Mormons really think of the Secret Lives. And then Jana Reese, Secret Lives offers an absurdly one-sided picture of Mormonism, but it's also not fully wrong. So then there's these reactions of members of our church to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I think LDS people feel absolutely comfortable being judgmental in this one aspect, right? Like, we're not supposed to judge, but these guys are free reign. Like, obviously, we can judge them. I think that's one thing. And I do think on the other side, there are a lot of people who are like, but this doesn't represent me. And so they
Yeah.
do feel uncomfortable about it. I I don't care. I don't care. I
Okay.
really don't. Like, I don't think that it hurts the church, and I don't think it helps the church. I just think it's entertainment.
Okay. All right. Well,
I
I
don't
just
know.
I don't watch it that much. I've only watched a
Yeah.
little bit of it. I'm definitely not in the target demographic.
Yeah.
Um, I do think it's fascinating, Melissa, how Mormons like dominate the entertainment landscape.
Mhm.
Like when we would do famous Mormons, there's all kinds of famous Mormons ever. But when you look at like the most popular YouTube channels, Mark
Right.
Rober, Mark Rober is huge.
Absolutely.
And that fishing outdoor boys guy, he stopped
Yep.
his channel, but he dropped like a couple of episodes after he ended his channel and they like hit
Yeah.
millions and millions of views
There's
overnight.
some Matt's Off-Road Recovery. They're
Yep.
huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if you wanted to find a great representation of LDS people, you totally could.
And it's
And
funny because they don't all advertise that they're Mormon, right? You're kind of
not
like,
even. Yeah. Mark
yeah.
Rober doesn't advertise that he's Mormon. He
Mm-mm.
doesn't shy away from it. Yeah. But
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think and then there's also the farmer ballerina, right?
Yeah.
There's
Ballerina
a
Farm. Hmm. Yeah.
mhm. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that this one gets a lot of attention because it has the word Mormon in it, but I don't
Hmm.
think it's different than all of the other stuff you see out there that's full of members of our church that are
Yeah.
doing content.
Like me and you, Matt, we have the word Mormon in our name, and that gets us so much attention. I mean,
The people that matter listen to the show. Okay, we're gonna do just a couple of really fun this week in Mormon history bits.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, first one is 150 years ago, 1875.
Okay.
Local bishop reports that the first counselor, George A. Smith, this is the quote: George A. Smith preached in Salina, Sevier County last year and said that the Savior Jesus Christ will be here on earth in 1891. Emphasis in the original.
Wait, he was what
Well,
was
this
his
is
calling at the time, George A.
he,
Smith?
he was the first counselor in the first presidency. But
No way.
but have you
This is
not
much like you proclaiming that the
right.
Savior will be here.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard like these folklore of like President Benson said that this generation will be on the earth when the Savior comes again.
That's
Right.
true. That's right.
Yeah. So I just like that this folklore of now I heard someone in the first
Mhm.
presidency prophesied.
Okay, so this isn't like documented, it's just reported that he said it? He
Hmm.
said it though.
I don't know. People hear what they want to hear when people speak, right?
I
Um,
hear what I wanna hear all the time. You
yeah.
speak and I say, "Yeah, I know what he's saying. I know what he's trying to say."
I would love it if someday this week in Mormon history says, this week Matt said that that Savior is coming at General Conference, and it wouldn't be a thing of like he said that every single time.
You did say it every single time.
It's only like three
The
times
man with
I've
the
said it.
spreadsheet. The man with the spreadsheet.
We should have him on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, this is 140 years ago. I was
Okay.
just
So 10
informed.
years later and the Savior hadn't come.
No, but he was supposed to come in 1891. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
they
Oh, so
gave
it wouldn't have
themselves
happened yet.
a
Okay.
buffer.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
This is Wilford Woodruff. So if you sing the primary song of the Order of the Prophets, it goes Wilford Woodruff,
Came third, you know. Oh, no.
Wilford Woodruff,
John
Lorenzo
Taylor
Snow.
came third, you know, then Wilford Woodruff, Lorenzo Snow. Should I keep going?
Okay.
Joseph F.
Nope. That's
Smith,
all. No,
remember the F.
we don't need to
Okay.
go any further.
That's it. Okay. Okay.
Wilford Woodruff wrote in his journal, I was just informed that Lorenzo Snow was arrested at Brigham City. He was returning from a mission
Whoa.
among Indian tribes in the Northwest when arrested for unlawful cohabitation. After a
Oh,
trial and unsuccessful appeals, he was taken to the Utah Territorial Penitentiary.
what?
Yeah.
These days, unlawful cohabitation means something about the Epstein files. That's what it means these days. What did it mean?
Yeah. Nobody gets arrested on that these days. Yeah, so
No.
the next in line to be president of the church went to jail for practicing polygamy.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah. So it was prior to the manifesto, right? It was prior to all of that. And so yeah, he was out on a mission
But
and he
he was
comes
on a
home.
mission among the Indian tribes, was one of his wives? A
No,
native?
no, they would just leave.
No.
No, they just leave their family and go on missions.
Okay.
So as he's coming
Interesting.
home to be with his family again, he got arrested near Brigham City and went to
Wow.
jail. Yeah.
So one of our prophets had a criminal record.
Well, and John Taylor was in hiding for the end of his presidency because he was polygamous and he didn't want to go to jail. But yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much you know about our church history that I don't. That's why every time this segment is riveting.
Okay, this one's kind of fun. 60 years ago, 1965, David O. McKay met privately with Ezra Taft Benson, who gave a report on the serious inroads the communists have made in this country. This is a quote. I am convinced that our country is already on the road to socialism and that the communists are making gains here. End of quote. Benson then
Wow.
suggested that McKay's new counselor, Thorpe Isaacson, be sent to a 2-day John Birch Society seminar in December to learn about communism and conditions in our country. McKay agreed. Isaacson later elected not to go to the seminar.
Wow. Matt, you have another podcast called The Latter Day Lens, in which you often advocate that socialism is the correct course, and you advocate that socialism is, in fact, the correct course based on our church's teachings. And next time you make a statement, something like that, I'm going to point you to this, which is a warning from President McKay. It's a warning
No,
about
Ezra Taft
socialism
Benson.
from President Benson about
Yeah.
socialism and communism. I'm going to remind you of this, Matt.
Did you know, Melissa, when I was in graduate school, I took a
Mhm.
class on Marxism. And
Yes.
I read everything that Karl Marx ever wrote. And as I was in that class, I would read this stuff from President McKay and President Benson, and I was like, they fundamentally misunderstand what Karl Marx was saying. And then I would think, I need to write something. I need to get this out there so that people can understand that what President Benson and President McKay were worried about with communism is that they were a little bit off. Like they didn't need to be so worried and they were misrepresenting. And as I started to work on this project, I felt like I should not do that. And so
Interesting.
that's an unfinished
You
project.
felt like you should not give pointers to the president of the church, unlike me, who gives pointers to President Oaks saying, hey, just thinking about the mission age here.
I felt like David O. McKay and Ezra Taft Benson were inspired of God to do and say the things they did when they were leaders of the church. And it wasn't my job 50 years later to go back and correct their misperceptions or whatever.
I
Because
see.
if they were concerned about communism, then it's probably because God told them to be concerned about communism. But if President Oaks isn't, then maybe that fear isn't. We shouldn't worry about it so much. Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
maybe. You know, there's many professions that you have to think about their alignment with your religion. There's many professions like that. And you do a good job of that, usually.
I
Usually.
thought you were going to say, and a communist isn't one of them.
It's just not one of those jobs. Well,
My
that was
kids, if you-
delightful. Thanks.
My kids, if you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're going to be like, a communist, Daddy, a communist. Hey, everybody, that's all just joking. None of my
Yes.
kids want to be a communist.
Okay, Matt, 98% of this podcast is all just joking. In case y'all don't understand, we're
That's
just
right.
joking.
We're
Okay.
just having fun.
Yeah.
And we think that you would have more fun watching us on YouTube if you're not doing it now.
Oh,
YouTube
do we?
is a jolly, I don't know.
I
Watch
listen
us
to
there
it
if you
on the
want to.
podcast platform. Matt listens to it on YouTube. Whatever floats your boat.
There's also Patreon. You'll get this content earlier on Patreon if you subscribe to Patreon. And you can send us an email if you want us to give us some feedback. People do this from time to time. You email contact@thisweekinmormons.com, or on the YouTube page, you just leave a comment there. And I love to read the comments, and I sometimes read them on the podcast. But more than anything, we just want to thank you for listening to the ever imitated, never duplicated original Mormon News Podcast.